Before we jump into today's show, I've got a really exciting announcement to make. The autumn cohorts for Start Your Podcast group program are now open. There are 5 dates between September and October, and it's a 6-week program that will get you launched before Christmas. So if podcasting was on your to-do list this year, if you really want to get your podcast up and done by the end of 2023, then come and join me for one of those cohorts and let's make it happen. I have a free masterclass available for you called Understanding the Power of Podcasting. You can go over to donnaeade.com/masterclass, watch the masterclass and get access to that enrollment. I hope to see you in one of the autumn cohorts very soon. That's donnaeade.com/masterclass. Let's get back to the show. You're listening to the Wedding Procast UK, the place to be if you are a UK wedding professional looking to grow and streamline your business. I'm your host, Donna Eade, 10-year wedding photography veteran and CEO at the Society of Professional Wedding Vendors. If you want to grow and streamline your business, this is the podcast for you. Make sure you hit subscribe where you listen or join our email list at www.spwv.co.uk. You'll find the sign up form at the bottom of every episode, and by doing so, you won't miss a thing. So let's jump into today's show. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. I am super excited today because we have somebody on the show who I consider one of my business mentors, Debbie Gilbert. She is a multi-award winning entrepreneur and owner of the Best Business Women Awards. She will be sharing tips and insights into business awards and why they are your golden ticket to business success. So I won't keep you waiting. Let's dive in. Welcome to the podcast, Debbie. It is so great to have you here. If you would like to give us a little introduction, tell everybody who you are. They will have heard in my intro, but tell us a little bit about you and what it is that you do.
Thanks, Donna. Great to be here. So my name is Debbie Gilbert and I'm the owner of the Best Business Women Awards. I do own a marketing agency as well, but the business awards are something that I'm very, very passionate about, and I've been running them now for 7 years. As a marketing agency, we've not only won awards ourselves, but we have also entered clients into numerous awards and had some really great successes. So awards are something I am really passionate about.
Yeah, and I love the idea of awards, though I get very scared about entering them because I feel like you get that imposter syndrome, like, oh, I'm not good enough to win this, and then you kind of talk yourself out of it. So I'm really interested to jump into this topic today. So from your experience in awards and what awards can do for you, why are awards so important for businesses to enter?
There's a number of reasons why awards are so important. I think the first thing, when you're entering a business or industry award that requires you to give a degree of information across to the judging panel, that it gives you the opportunity to really do a deep dive into your business and really look at your business from a 360-degree view. And that's a really useful exercise. And that gives you the opportunity to stand back and look at your processes, look at your reviews, look at what you're doing well, look at what your competitors are doing, and also look at what you could be doing better. So I think that's the very first benefit, in my opinion. The second thing is that once you've won an award, no one's taking it off you. So you've got that credibility, and you've got that credibility forever. Again, if it's been judged by a panel of experts, it gives you credibility, but it also raises you and your business to an expert level in your industry. And I know this is a podcast aimed at the wedding industry, but the wedding industry is very broad. So within the wedding industry, you have many, many different types of professions. So any award that you can gain will definitely raise your status and raise your profile. The third thing is, I think, the feel-good factor, actually, being recognised for all your hard work. The fourth thing is the publicity that comes from that as well is enormous, and it opens so many doors. And I'll give you a fifth. We've got a team. It's great for team morale. So there's 5 things there that really do mean, for me, I know from first-hand experience, that awards are so beneficial.
Yeah. And with awards, we know that there are lots of different awards out there, from business awards to industry specific awards, etc. Are all awards created equal?
It's a good question, actually. I mean, my opinion is no, because I am a real fan of properly entered awards that go in front of a judging panel. So in theory, a business competition, not a vote for, because a vote for becomes a popularity contest rather than a credibility award. So I guess when I'm asked that question, I'm asked it a lot, I flip it on its head sometimes and talk about, especially if your business is aimed at consumers, that consumers will generally gravitate towards a business who's won awards. Therefore, if you have won an award, which is a voted for award, they're not really going to know the difference between that and one that's gone in front of a judging panel. So no, they're not all equal, but in terms of what the consumer sees, yeah, they are, aren't they? Because they're not going to do the research. Some might, but it's unlikely. And I think when you're looking at the myriad of awards that are out there, you've got to think about what do you want to be known for. So yes, you've got industry specific awards, but then you've got local business awards as well, either in your local town or city, and also your county, your region. And then you've got your industry ones as well. And then you might have to think about entering awards for business women, for example, like gender specific awards. So I think it's about doing your due diligence on those awards that you're entering. Because remember, you're giving your data to those people when you enter. And understanding what they're doing in the process of judging which business is the best.
Yeah.
So I think that's your key piece of work that you need to do.
Something that I think just sort of as you were talking there came into my head was actually one of the reasons that I didn't like the vote for awards is because I was a very small business with a very small group of clients. And I thought, well, there's no point in me entering that award because I'm never going to get enough votes to beat out somebody who has been in the industry 20 years and has got 20 years worth of clients that they can call on to vote for them. So knowing that there are the two different sides, having that one where it's actually judged by a judging panel, I think is fairer for those of us who feel like we haven't got as many clients to do those votes. When you're looking at it, you want to be recognised for the good work that you've done, and people may vote for you because they loved your work, but they also might vote for you because they're your mum, they're your sister, they're your best friend. But going in front of a judging panel, it kind of evens the field, and you're being judged on the work that you've done solely. And how well you've done your application, obviously.
I'm totally in your camp. Yeah.
It just means that if you haven't got that sort of backlog, and maybe if you're earlier in your business, so you haven't got those clients that actually entering business awards where you are judged by a panel, you'll probably have a better chance of actually getting through to those finals and then winning the award itself. So it's interesting to look at. So I think that's good.
Yeah, I mean, there's for and against, isn't there? And at the end of the day, you have to go look behind the company that's organising the awards. So let's say they're a company that have a website aimed at the wedding industry or aimed at weddings. So they want to attract brides to their website, people who are getting married, that demographic. So for them to run a vote contest, they immediately have all that data, which is very, very valuable to them. So just question it a little bit yourself. And also just remind yourself, if you're pushing out a vote for me award entry where you haven't entered it, but you've been maybe nominated or something, then your friends, your family and your clients potentially are going to have boxes to tick to stop them being contacted or their data being sold. It happens a lot. So it's just a warning sign, really, to look at it in more detail and step back and think, is that something I want people to be having to submit their information to? And I think a lot of people, they blindly get these sort of what I call ghost nominations. And actually what those companies have done is they've just literally searched through Google for a selection of companies that fit their criteria. Then they email them and tell them, oh, you've been nominated. And you haven't been nominated by anybody. Because when you ring them up, and I've done this myself, and I've rung people up and said, oh, who nominated me? Oh, no, we can't possibly tell you that. And I know exactly what they've done. They've done a thing which we call in the industry, they've skimmed Google, skimmed websites, looked for people who've already won awards or looked for businesses that fit the criteria, and then they tell you you've been nominated. Another scam that goes around is you get an email telling you you've won an award. Great, but can I have £500 please for the logo? Or can I have £650 for the logo? And I've seen that numerous times because people send me the emails and say, is this genuine? And it's a fictitious awards really, but I know people that do it and pay the money because I've seen these logos on their websites and I'm like, God, where did you get that from? And they're like, well, they sent me an email, told me I won it and I just had to pay £500 for a logo.
Scary.
So, there's a lot of this that goes on.
Yeah. And before we move on to my next question on that, is there sort of a guiding principle of how much it should cost? Because I know a lot of awards are you have to pay to enter them. Is there sort of a rough guide of, what you should be looking at? Or is there a point where you go, maybe you should question this before you enter it?
This is another thing that you get asked a lot. So some awards are free and that's fine. Our awards, we do charge £25 a category because we have a lot to process. So it covers our admin fees, but also it puts a barrier up there to any Tom, Dick and Harry just doing an entry and not making any effort and submitting it. And we had a lot of that in the early years. And literally it got rid of 200 or 300 entries by putting a fee there.
Yeah.
But those 200 or 300 entries were not of any quality. People hadn't made any effort because they hadn't paid for it. So low cost tends to be like, we've just got that minimum fee in there, £25 per entry. But, I write award entries for lots of awards. Some are free for one category. Some charge £45 a category, £75 a category, going up to like the Times Awards are, I think, £250 a category, as are the National Business Awards run by Lloyd's are around £300, £400 a category. But obviously those are aimed at really big corporate companies and that isn't a big ask for them to pay it.
Yeah.
And I guess their theory is that it would only ensure that larger companies would enter because small businesses wouldn't pay that. You do have to look at the extra costs, as in, is there a ceremony you have to attend? How much is that? If you are a finalist, what are you going to get? And if the answer is, well, if you're not a winner, you're not going to get anything, as in no award or no certificate or no recognition or no logo, then I'd question the value of that. Because if it's only the winners that are actually receiving anything, there's always going to be more finalists than winners. So like our awards, we've now brought in a silver award and a gold award. So everybody who is selected as a finalist will get one award, either a silver or a gold. So you've got a trophy, you've got a logo, you've got a certificate. So that to me is valuable as a business to have all of that. So I think the important thing is look at all the costs and really look at what you're going to get and how much publicity do the awards give to their finalists and their winners. How active are they on social media? Do they support you to do press releases? Really, what is that kind of stuff that's going on in the background to power you forward?
Yeah.
And again, when I'm doing checks on awards to enter clients into, I look at all of that. And if it's very poor, then I do step back and go, okay, maybe we won't be putting them in for those because they're not really going to get anything out of it unless they're a winner.
Yeah, it's a good point. So when we're looking at PR, it's one of the things that you said it was worth entering awards for the PR opportunities. What does that actually look like, and what should people be looking to do with their awards? Should they win or be a finalist? How would they go about it? Where should they be looking to get PR?
So as an award-winning business owner, you automatically go up the pecking order in the interests of journalists and researchers because you have credibility stamped all over you. So publicity comes through, you have to push yourself out there. You have to put press releases out there. You have to make phone calls. You have to be proactive. It's not just going to arrive at your door. But I think what it does, without a doubt, and I've got personal experience of this, is that if they want somebody as an expert in their industry to comment on something and that person has won an award or two, then you are going to be a go-to person in that industry. So some of the winners of our awards over the years have had exposure on Sky News, BBC News, the Victoria Derbyshire Show. One of them who was a winner in 2019, Aisha Nayar, won Best Legal Services. She's a solicitor based up north. And she had her own TV show called Crime Doesn't Pay, and now is a regular on the Steph Lunchtime Show. So those things don't happen without business awards, whether they're for your business or your industry. So that's what it looks like. And also getting industry press. So, for example, one of the winners from last year, Alison, she has a business called Evolve and Grow. She works predominantly with construction companies, coaching them to help them grow. And she got a great piece in a construction magazine, literally the week after the awards. So, you mustn't rule out your own industry press as well. And often stories for national magazines and newspapers are picked up from industry press news, press releases online. I've been on, personally been on BBC Three Counties Radio quite a few times. I've been on BBC Look East News. I've had features in Women and Home magazine, Prima magazine, Weight Watchers magazine, believe it or not, featured my book because I went on to write a book, which was a finalist in the Business Book Awards. So the opportunities are there. You have to go and seek them out. And I'd always advise people to either work with a PR agency, or there's a lot of companies that have been set up now that teach you to do your own PR. And you just get out there and you put that press release absolutely everywhere you possibly can and make phone calls and activate it. And it's all about your story, because your story will have led to you winning an award. They are interested in what's the backstory. So if I give you the example of Ashley O'Connell, who was on the Victoria Derbyshire Show, she won Most Inspiring Businesswoman in 2017. And this lady had gone from being homeless to running a wellness centre with 7 staff.
Wow.
So that is an impressive story. And she went on to the Victoria Derbyshire Show, having been on BBC Three Counties Radio. That was the first part. And Victoria Derbyshire researchers saw or heard this interview she did on Three Counties and contacted her because she'd gone from being homeless to running a company, a very successful company. So it's human interest stories they want to know about. Julianne Poonen, who owns Creative Nature Superfoods, won one of our awards a couple of years ago, and she'd been on Dragon's Den. She'd got investment. She also had won other awards. And her story was all about starting her business through her own nut allergy and how severely ill she was. So they're looking for those hooks and those stories about people who've made a difference in either their local community or UK-wide or even globally.
Yeah.
So the publicity comes from you sharing that story.
And that sounds like it's a really big, important part of it as well, because you can win an award, you can stick a logo on your website and people will go, oh, they're an award winner. Okay. But if you actually want to go out there and attract people to your website, that's where you've got to do the work. You've got to do that footwork and get yourself out there.
I mean, the other benefit that people often miss out because they don't realise was 2 other benefits really that kind of sit behind all of this. The SEO on your website will go up because you'll get a backlink usually from the awards company to your site. And the second thing is that, for example, on the night of our online final that we did, we carried it over from last year and we did it this year, the early part of this year. One of our winners said at our launch event, she had 7,500 likes, comments, views on her posts on social media that night.
Wow.
7,500 reach in one night. So that kind of stuff that goes on behind the scenes in your social media, if you're posting on the night of the awards or the lead up to it or after it, your reach is going to go up on social media. So it's going to help you with your SEO and it's going to help you with your social media as well.
Yeah.
And that is often picked up by journalists, especially on Twitter, because the journalists are on Twitter looking for stories. And we get approached as well. So I would imagine other awards companies do. I get approached on a regular basis. Do you know someone who fits this brief? Or they've looked at my website and seen the list of winners on there and contact me and say, look, we want to get hold of this person. We've got a story and we know we need their comment. Can you put contact with them. So I'd imagine other awards have the same level of inquiries. So often media requests come via that way.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good information. So when we're looking at, I know for the wedding industry specifically, there are a lot of wedding awards out there, regional, national, and then sort of country awards and stuff. And so I see a lot of vendors entering those kind of awards. What would you say would be, or would it be beneficial, do you think, to them to branch out of the wedding industry arena when it comes to award entries and looking at business awards or awards in their specific industry, like photography awards and catering awards and things like that?
Yeah, I think it's really important. And the reason I think it's important is because it puts you on the map in your local area. So industry awards are great. And I absolutely say wholeheartedly, and I will send you some links to send out to people, Donna, for industry awards. But look at what's going on locally. So as I said, it depends where you're listening from. So many cities have their own award program for business awards. Most counties have their own awards as well. And you will find that there are regional awards as well. So have a look at the FSB, for example. There's the Great British Entrepreneur Awards. There's the SME Awards, so they do SME nationals, they do regional ones as well in Bedfordshire, Hertfordshire, Essex, etc. Then there are also a lot of the chambers run awards, and you don't need to be a chamber member to enter. So the chambers can opt in or out of running their own awards. The Hertfordshire Chamber definitely does them, 100%. And there are also awards here in Hertfordshire run by Archant, which is our newspaper group for the area. They've been running the Hertfordshire Business Awards forever, and there will be awards whichever county you're listening in to the podcast from. And I think they've got tremendous value because you are demonstrating your business expertise and your industry expertise at the same time. And from a networking perspective and getting yourself known in your local area, it's a great opportunity. Why wouldn't you put yourself out there? I think all too often people who have a lot of awards within their industry, and the wedding industry has a lot of awards because I've looked, they sort of almost blinkered and they don't consider entering more business awards which are general. So I would say to anybody listening to this, have a plan, think about what it is you want to achieve. And, rotate it round sometimes. Think, oh, well, I'll do wedding industry one year, local awards the next year, or whatever you decide to do.
Yeah.
But there are lots of awards out there for events and hospitality, as well as weddings, specific wedding awards. So it's really worth looking very, very carefully. And I've sent you the link, Donna, to share with your listeners for the website awards list.
Yeah.
You can find pretty much all the awards that are out there on there.
Yeah. Brilliant. We shall put those in the show notes for you guys so you can head over to take a look. So before we wrap up, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about your awards and tell us a little bit about the type of people that enter them, how we go about entering, where we can find out more about them, and just give us all the information.
So my awards are the Best Business Women Awards. So if you are a female in business, then these are awards for you. Now, often I get asked, oh, but my husband's in the business. That's absolutely fine. But if it's an all-male business, sorry, these awards are not for you. I should set up the Best Man business, I think. But the Best Business Women Awards was set up really to recognise female entrepreneurs who I think face a unique set of challenges, to be honest with you, because many are just juggling life, business, work, trying to keep all the balls in the air. And I wanted to set something up for them. So that's why I set it up. And it's open till the 30th of June, 2021.
So still time to enter, guys.
Yeah, still have time to enter. And I would strongly think about the best customer service category. Because with lockdown, past year, it's all been a bit horrible for the wedding industry. But if you've got testimonials and great case studies that you've had over the past sort of 3 or 4 years of trading, then do think about entering that category because it's a great accolade to have. It's got wedding industry written all over it because you're all about your customer service.
Yeah.
I would suggest looking at the best consumer category is the other one. If you've been in business a while and you've got a good track record, then that category is aimed at any business who serves consumers. And the other one worth mentioning, not just for my awards, but any awards, is Best New Business. And that's open to any business that's been trading just under 3 years. The dates are on our website. But most awards run a similar date, 2 years, 2 to 3 years. So even with COVID, if you've opened your business within the last couple of years, and you can do some projections of what you think you're going to do, because the wedding industry will come back fighting this year and into next year. 2022, guys, you're going to be really busy. Too busy for award entries, probably.
So get them in.
But maybe now, now's the time to do it, or you've got a bit extra time on your hands. I think Best New Business definitely puts you on the map as a finalist and a winner. It's a really good category for any new business to catapult you out there, to give you that extra traction. So those are the three. And then we also have categories in our awards, Best Business. So if you've been trading 5 years or longer, even with COVID, you just talk about what you did during COVID, even if it was put your feet up and had a cup of tea for a year. But I know some of you will have pivoted and found other things to do. Judges are going to understand there's been a whole year of absolute annihilation in your industry. Yeah. They're going to know that. So just explaining it in the entry, really. Best Business is a good one as well. It's a good badge of honour to have. And I would say the other one that springs to mind is Most Inspiring Businesswoman, because we had the gorgeous Carmel Jane, who won back in 2019, and she's a photographer. She built her photography business, an amazing lady, and very, very inspirational. And what they're looking for are people who have been in business a while, and they are people that other women would inspire to be like, or would find inspirational, the story and their journey inspirational. And it's a lovely, lovely award, that one. So they're really the categories that I would say that the wedding industry should be considering.
Brilliant. And just, I've got to ask, because, we want to make sure that we're doing our best and putting our best foot forward if we're going to enter these awards. What are your top 3 things that people should do in their entry, or things that they do wrong in their entry that they need to make sure they consider to make sure that their entry is, spot on?
Focus on facts, figures, and no fluff. Tell your story. Make it an inspirational read to somebody who doesn't know you. And make sure you send evidence and you back up what you're saying. So you gather together your financials. Even if you had a wobbly year last year, they're going to expect that. Gather together your financials, which you can either get from your accountant or spreadsheet, or print it off of you if you use a cloud accounting system. Make sure you put that in. Good customer testimonials, case studies. If your business is visual, let's say you're a florist listening to this, send some pictures of your most beautiful flower arrangements. That's what you need to do. The mistakes are people leave this stuff out. They submit award entries without any evidence or a low quality amount of evidence, and they don't sell their business properly to the judging panels. You've got to communicate everything in that entry and make it so that the judges are left in no doubt that you should be either a finalist or a winner. That you want to tick every box that you possibly can. And what we find is people waffle on. They repeat the same things. They don't read the questions properly. They don't read the category criteria properly. They don't look at deadlines. My phone on the 1st of July will be red hot with people ringing me saying, I missed the deadline. Can I still submit? And I'm like, no, the deadline was yesterday. There has to be a deadline. You can't carry it on forever.
No.
I think read the deadline, read the questions, understand the categories, and really try and communicate your story. And don't leave valuable things out. If you do pro bono work, if you do work for a charity as well, put it all in. Because often people forget about all of this stuff. And we all live our lives day to day, and we forget about the stuff that we do that has made a difference. So even if you had somebody on work experience, or you donated flowers to a hospice, or you donate raffle prizes for stuff, or you go and volunteer. And during lockdown, talking to lots of businesses, what I have found, certainly I've been talking to lots of people over the last few weeks saying, should I enter or not? And when I start talking to them about what they've done during lockdown, they've been out there doing amazing things. Just wasn't running their business because they couldn't, but they have done other things.
Yeah.
They have been contributing to society. So
brilliant.
Put that in.
Yes. Yes,
good luck.
Brilliant. Okay, so yeah, definitely make sure that the money that you're spending on awards is worth it by making sure that you fill that entry in as fully as possible and make it as compelling as you can. And I always would advocate having someone else read it through before you send it off, just so they can pick up any spelling errors, grammar, and just make sure it makes sense to somebody else, because I think we could all get in our own heads about these things and think that it makes perfect sense, hit send, and then you notice the grammatical errors that you've done. And it all affects it. So thank you so much for your time today, Debbie. I really appreciate you coming on and talking to us. We will put the links for the awards in the show notes. So if you want to go and enter Debbie's awards, then do go ahead and do that. You've got like just about nearly a month to get that award entry done. So you've definitely got the time for it. And I will see you again, guys, next week. Thank you so much, Debbie.
Thank you.
I hope you'll agree that was a fantastic episode. I want to just thank Debbie again for coming on the show and sharing her knowledge with us. You can find all of the links over on the website if you go to bit.ly/WPCUK058. If you enjoyed today's episode, please hit subscribe where you listen. If you are on the website, scroll to the bottom of the page and you will find a sign up form so that you can get notified when new episodes drop. And we'll see you again next week. Bye for now. Don't forget to hit those stars and leave a review of the podcast where you listen if you found value in what you heard today. It's a free way you can help the podcast reach more people just like you.